Female Furies, #1, written by Cecil Castellucci, art by Adriana Mallow. So last week, in basically every single DC comic, the last page of the comic was like an ad for this book. So it was definitely on my radar, and I thought the concept sounded pretty interesting. So it's a Granny Goodness and the Female Furies, and it's a 6-issue miniseries, and we're going to learn more about them. And after Tom King's very popular Mr. Miracle series, I think myself and a few various other people are kind of interested more in the fourth world area of the DC universe and learning more about Darkseid and all these crazy characters. So I think there's a lot of interest in this book, and that's why I was at least interested to check this one out. I want to learn more about this. I want to learn more about that world, right? So let's dive into this issue. So we pick up and we see these various Female Furies. Most of these characters are kind of unknown to me. And then we jump back in time, and it says years ago, and we see a younger Granny Goodness who's actually pretty slim and is actually kind of sexy, which is very weird because Granny Goodness is a very grotesque looking woman usually. But I thought the artwork change was very different on this page and very kind of reminiscent of that 1970s fourth world kind of initial style from Jack Kirby. So as we jump over to today, we are introduced to these various Female Furies. So we have Big Barda, Mad Harriet, Aurelie, Lashina, Stompa, and Bernadeth. And I don't know most of these characters. I know Big Barda and I know Granny Goodness. The rest of them are kind of unknown to me. And we see Granny Goodness, and she is walking into this war room on Apokolips, and she's talking to Darkseid and these various other advisors of Darkseid. And Granny Goodness, she wants this new part in Darkseid's kind of army. So Darkseid, he's trying to decide what all these advisors are going to be doing and what kind of part they will play in the future of Darkseid's sort of army. And then this is where the book kind of takes a weird turn. Darkseid starts kind of hitting on and sexually harassing Granny Goodness. Darkseid says, "Battle makes me hungry for what food cannot fill. Come here, Goodness." And she's like, "I don't understand." And Darkseid's like, "You will have power in my reign, but you must give yourself to me completely." And she's like, No, And Darkseid says, "Do as I say and rise higher than anyone else. Refuse and find yourself back with the lowest of the low." And she says, "I will obey." And then on the next page, she's naked, I assume after having sex with Darkseid, which is kind of just gross. Darkseid. I can't picture Darkseid having sex. And yeah, she's naked, and it looks like Darkseid maybe took advantage of her. So Darkseid is delegating all these new roles to people in his organization, and Darkseid says, "It has all been decided. You'll be in charge of the orphanage," to Granny Goodness. And Granny Goodness is pissed about this, and she's very upset that she is given this sort of lower role, and she says, "I am your equal. I am more valuable and asset to you than them." And these other male advisors are all laughing at her. So she's pissed, but she takes this new role in stride, and she trains these various orphans, these females, girls, and makes them into these really hardened warriors. And she's fighting for these Female Furies of her to have a part in Darkseid's army. However, one of the advisors says that, "I propose that we inspect these Female Furies up close." And Darkseid says, "Proceed to step 2. So they're going to evaluate these women more intensely. What does that entail? All of a sudden, this one guy smells Aurelie's hair, and very creepily, and she's like, "Remove your hand or lose it, Willick." So all of a sudden, they have a bake-off, and then an evening gown competition, and then a smile contest. And this is just a bizarre turn here. I guess it's kind of funny, but it's just such a weird turn of events. So Granny Goodness says, "The time has come for the Furies to have equal standing on Apokolips. We've complied. You've had your laugh." And Darkseid says, "Fail. The scores are too low. They're just not ready to join us. Better luck next year." And then they make a sexual remark about Aurelie. "But what a feast for the eyes, that Aurelie." So Granny Goodness is pissed off. And then we follow this one other girl character, and she has to have special tutoring from this other guy, and he is sexually harassing her through this training. He's grabbing her breast and ass and body, and she is pissed. Then all of a sudden, later on, this guy who is Steppenwolf's bastard son shows up, and he starts making sexual sort of harassment comments And the Female Furies end up killing him, which was kind of a no-no, and they have to go hide his body, and that is how this issue ends. So what did I think of this issue? I thought it was frankly really weird. All of this sexual harassment stuff, which is not cool by the way, but I mean, this is Apokolips. This is Darkseid's army. Like, if you were doing a World War II story on Nazi Germany, are you going to talk about the sexual harassment of how women couldn't advance in the Nazi army? This is such a bizarre story. This is Apokolips. Like, what is with the direction of this storyline? It is so dumbfounding. Like, what a weird direction for this story. Mind you, I'm kind of intrigued by it. Like, I want to see these Furies succeed and get over this sexual harassment, but still, such a weird direction. Like, I don't know. I didn't really dig this. It's just not what I was expecting. I'm going to give this issue a 5.5 out of 10. There's just a lot I did not really like here, and it's just so weird and